Alright, we can start. Okay. So wait, why'd you give me this account? I'm curious, dude.
Cause I just played that game today.
God damn it.
I played awful, by the way. Like, I warm up on my Smurf. I don't usually play that well.
Are you challenger yet?
But the other game, I'm like 3 wins away, I think.
Alright, don't play.
270 LP.
Just wait for someone to demote. God damn it. Because I think this happened last time, didn't it?
What did?
You almost hit challenger and then you ended up hitting you dropped down to 150.
Yeah. Feels bad.
It feels bad. Doesn't matter though. Okay, you can see my screen and everything, right?
Yeah.
Alright, good.
It's actually pretty good.
Thank you. Now, I didn't actually have time to go over your game because I just got really, really fucking busy. But it doesn't really matter. It's irrelevant. Okay, so this opening is okay. What the fuck is wrong with Janna? What is... Oh, okay. She's just... Not Janna, she's just Kaisa. Okay, so the opening is fine. Already you acknowledge right side start. What are you thinking right now? Just basic stuff.
I mean, Camille versus Zen matchup should be bad for me.
Yeah, you'll die.
I usually try to cross jungle.
Yeah, but you didn't cross jungle here. You should know that he might start. He's gonna start on the right hand side, but this is fine. This is fine.
Start on the left hand side. That's like actually retarded. I've never seen.
Yeah, he should have started here because he doesn't make use of Sion's damage early on. So then this is just a nicer lane for him, but he actually started right hand side. He must have maybe unintentionally did this, but it doesn't really matter. Also, you're echoing a little bit. I can hear my voice just a little bit from the sounds.
Yeah, I will mute myself.
Yeah, that's fine.
Do push talk.
So you can still speak. I'm gonna need you to give me your input.
Let me do push to talk. Okay.
Sure.
All right, it should work.
So alternatively, this should have been the play, right? But this instead this was the play, which is really unlucky for you. But we already knew he started on this side, so the level 2 inevitable. One thing that you could have acknowledged already here is, you can just acknowledge that he has flash up, right? You don't have to go for this. You know what I mean? He will flash. He will flash for it. Because if he flashes, it's immediate death. So there's no reason to actually flash, and this is just a minor issue. It's not really a big deal. Whereas you would have flash to actually save yourself from Xin Zhao. This is really good though, because you know that Xin Zhao's his next clear outs are really depicted. Why is the blue buff not here? Is it a bug?
Yeah, it has to be a bug.
It's a bug. Okay, fair enough. And at this point, immediately beeline mid. The reason for this is Xin Zhao can only make 2 routes. He can't go like this because mid is shoved in, so he's obviously going to go like this. All we have to do is just wait. Alternatively, doing the scuttle is also fine here, and I'm pretty sure that's what you should just be doing. You could either go for scuttle crab, or you can just go for raptors and then wait for the counter, right? Because if scuttle crab moves downwards and then you're spotted here, and then by the time that you're over here, Xin Zhao's in the lane, you're kind of fucked, right? Whereas if you just do the stationary camp, you can acknowledge the fact that Xin Zhao's only route would obviously be towards mid lane, knowing that Fizz has level 3. Right, so this is something that's really minor, but you can acknowledge this. Also, Scuttle Crab is not going anywhere because you know Xin Zhao's left centric. Right? It's really minor. It's really minor, but it's for the safety of your mid laner, right? But it doesn't really end up. Nothing really ends up happening, so it doesn't matter. Xin Zhao makes a really stupid idea here by doing this. I don't know what the fuck this is. And immediately, your thought process should be: wait for Nami and Sivir to show in lane. Just beeline straight to his jungle, because you know it's CS. It's 9, right? 13. So he cleared something here, right? But you know that he probably cleared top lane. But you know that these 2 camps are up, right? So because you know these 2 camps are up, what ends up happening is you can basically beeline straight up here, take this, ward this, and even take this depending on how fast you clear it. You can recall, and then immediately all of Xin Zhao's path is going to be. The only way Xin Zhao can actually now move into the map is like this, where now he basically forfeits his entire right side jungle, and then you basically match him and protect your camps onto the left hand side, and then by the time that you transition to the right, he has nothing to take, and then you know exactly where he's going to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can get an immediate read if you just take this jungle and get a ward here. If he shows on the ward, great, you're playing with the fucking moron, right? But he should acknowledge that this is all gone. He should acknowledge that this is the only route.
I actually no, I should have done that. I don't know why I didn't.
right? It's just in the moment,
Yeah.
right? So the crab here is pointless because what ends up happening is because it doesn't actually make use of the way bot lane's playing, right? Like you could easily, if bot lane shoves in, which they might depending on how the lane matchup goes. This is like a luxury camp where you can just sit here and wait for the either counterattack or then you can just like go in anyway, knowing that Xin Zhao only has left side initiative. Alternatively, you can just fuck immediately. You can just fuck that entire plan by you can just recall, take this, reset, and then go straight bot if bot lane is shoving into you. And then you know where Xin Zhao is, right? So it's impossible for a match kill, for a counter gank. So I mean, we can see what he does, right? We can see the opening he takes when you make this clear. So he's acknowledged it clearly, right? But he doesn't know that you didn't take it. So no. What ends up happening is if we just do this, I think you reset after this, don't you? Because how can you go into contest the jungle now, right? So if you reset, now what's happening? Exactly. So what ends up happening is because we got the kill, we still didn't do anything. Because now, despite us getting the kill, he has the advantage and priority in the lane. Because now he knows that our only clear path. First of all, he knows where you are. He knows you're here. Okay. Second of all, he knows that your only next path is going to be on the left hand side because he knows that you don't know that he cleared this. So then he can basically clear this and then has priority onto the right-hand side, where he now knows as well that you probably didn't clear these, right? So he actually gets ahead in XP and levels, despite you getting an insta-kill on him, right? Because now if we tab, you're down to camp. Somehow. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is poor. And now Fizz sees you on a ward, which, I mean, escorts you straight out of your jungle probably, right? Yeah. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's just a minor issue, but then it became major because what ends up happening is you lost the read on the enemy, which is like it's whatever. And here immediately, let's say that you didn't actually clear this, you could actually recall here after farming this and then straight beeline bottom, and then just come in through lane, right? And then bot lane, but you should just be playing bot mid. There's absolutely no incentive in going top lane, in this game. Mainly because it's easier to put Fizz behind with Lissandra, and it's easier for your bot lane to get a kill onto the enemy. It's just easier, So, like, your next clear outs should just be basically favored towards bot/mid, right? Which is good because your highest XP camps are on that side of the as well, so you actually don't lose anything major by doing these things. So here, what are you thinking at this point?
Honestly, probably playing around bot side at this point.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Zen's gonna gank him, so I think
Yeah.
I was here to counter.
I mean, here this is your pacing, right? This is not good. Just immediately go here. You can just immediately. Well, first of all, you acknowledge bot lane isn't in the lane, right? So we can do this. We can track them by their cooldowns. This doesn't do anything for you, because your bot lane is resetting, right? So immediately, what you should do is leave this camp up, beeline straight to blue buff, hand it off, take Gromp, go into his jungle, get a ward here, recall, come back to lane, take your Raptors, and by the time you go to either Raptors or Golems, depending on the pace of bot lane. Actually, sorry, scratch that. Don't go to Raptors. Go straight to bot, because by the time you get back to your Gromp, what do you call it? Your Golems, bot lane will be in a nice spot to gank. All right. Whereas now, what's going to end up happening is now you don't actually have any form of initiative to actually be onto the right hand side with the lane that you actually want to be ganking for. And you know that this is going to bounce back because Sivir's in the lane, right? And she's bouncing it back anyway. So this doesn't help you in any way because now you're jeopardized because the lane that you want to focus now has absolutely no reason to be top. Like, you're going to be here where you have to actually be here. So this is really ugly. Also, you could have taken your blue away, which would put your mid laner behind, but I mean it doesn't really matter. So here you can just see, like, once again, you could be bot lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some movements you make, you could be bot lane in this case. Can you dive him? Yeah, he just dies, I think, right? You have ulti?
I do, but he's not in range.
Okay, I think you could have R'd him in the instant he ultied. Or does it cancel out? I don't know, maybe. I don't know, like, Camille specific, but it's something you can, like, entertain. And at this point, you should acknowledge the fact that Lissandra has more wave clear than Fizz. So one thing you can do, especially when you are playing a challenger, and you actually have a mid laner like a professional on your team or something, or someone relevant.
I hand off blues and higher yellow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, all right. So in that case, the clear is very simple. Just for the sake of going over it, is 1, 2, hand off blue, right side, because this is gonna spawn soon and this is gonna spawn eventually as well. Alternatively, we could have just gotten a ward here, but I mean it doesn't really matter. You got the skull crab. Even in like what is this, by the way? Since you're playing on your Smurf.
It's like D4.
Okay. I mean, I think the laners in D4 I think they're smart enough to shelve, with blue buff. Like even in D4, right? God damn it. But this doesn't make any sense either. I mean, so you see Zinzao, and here you can do this. Yeah, this is fine. This is really lucky. Your bot lane's like, they have brain cells. If bot lane was like really bad, then this could have been pretty ugly for you guys. But I mean, most of the problems I'm seeing is like in the early stages of the lane. It's just the giving up, taking certain camps when you don't need to, and just not prioritizing the right lane. I mean, here you actually force top lane anyway, so I mean it's irrelevant. But this is fine. Here, once again, you don't have to do this. They're on it, right? You can just go straight like this. Take this away, ward this, reset to your right side. When he comes back, once he clears this and then resets onto his left side jungle, you can spot him, right? And then you can play accordingly. You should know that his camps are already up on the left-hand side. Alternatively, if you're just clearing just to clear, then that's fine too, right? But then in that case, just do this first and then go here, right? Because you're leaving this camp up for absolutely no reason. Like nothing's gonna happen on the game for a while, right? Like nothing is absolutely gonna happen. The dragon isn't gonna spawn, and the rift isn't gonna spawn either because you just took it. But having a more cerebral clear by going like 1, 2, 3 versus 1, 2, 3 is a little bit awkward, right? So it's just something you can consider. Here, this is just a waste of time because you're never going to make use of anything. I mean, this is an auto away. It's practically gone. You already know that. Rip. And here, just full clear. There's literally no reason to do anything, right? So we're just going to fast forward this because now the game's in a state where nothing is going to happen and there's no incentive to actually take a risk or anything. Yep, this is all fine. I mean, that was really bad mainly because you didn't have the vision, but you got chunked anyway, and now they are forcing onto you. How'd you win this game, by the way?
Our Wukong and Kai's
press star. Yeah. I mean, at this point, the mistakes are really simple, right? Do you see the issues? Like, just minor issues. This isn't even Camille focused,
They're pretty major.
Yeah, they're pretty major.
Just bad.
Yeah, this is not Camille focused. I don't know anything about Camille to coach you on this champion.
well, yeah, that's why I wanted to bring up the video.
God damn it. Yeah, dude. But this is not Camille focused. Camille is really strong though, but like you play her in Challenger, really easy. Like you'll probably hit mid Challenger pretty easily with the champion because it's just not fair. I mean, at this point, the dragon's spawning soon, so there's absolutely no reason to do anything. You can probably go top here. Wait, never mind. Just kidding. Yeah, this is fine. Do you win this? Okay. Just issues there. So what do you think you're struggling most on, like aside from the early problems that we noticed? Like, is it your skirmishing? Is it just your overall mechanics on the champion?
No, it's probably my padding. I'm like really good at tracking the jungle for like first I don't know 5-6 minutes, and then I kind of just stop thinking.
You can keep counting the CS.
Autopilot.
You can keep counting the CS, right?
Yeah.
Like what dragon is this? It's Ocean. It's useless. You don't need it. You can even just give it up. It's literally irrelevant. Ocean Dragon is like getting vision on the left hand side is more worth than actually getting the Ocean Dragon at this point, right? So at this point, yeah, this is all fine. Just shove. I mean, the problem is you're playing with a bunch of Diamond 3s, so like they don't actually know what they're doing for the most part. So it's a little bit hard macro-wise. And at this point, it's just a waiting game, right? It's just to see who like basically breaks discipline first. One thing you can do is because this lane is pushing into them, you can just keep pressuring their left side jungle and then looking for a possible setup for this fight and tell your team to group because you know you're gonna have the numbers advantage, right? If basically you do a 1-4-0 here, then you practically win the game. And the reason for this is because then they have to send Sion on top, and then they have to send one of their carries or someone bot lane. In that case, you guys are shoving down mid. This tower falls for sure. You can then basically reunite with your top laner while the other player is actually shoving down bottom. And then basically dive top lane, whoever's shoving in. Alternatively, Sion goes bot lane, and then you just do the same thing, but you swap the players. So these are things that you can do, and the only reason you're able to do this is because of the slow push in the bottom lane. But these are things I think I feel like if you're playing a challenger, they would just do it, But because you are playing in on your Smurf, it's a little bit awkward. I mean, they're just kind of inting into you at this point. I mean, I don't know if there was much thought behind that fight.
No, probably not.
There's just no, yeah. It's just I mean, the Diamond player, the problem with Diamond players, they just kill themselves. So there's not really much you can say. So despite having that pressure, alternatively in one side of the lane, they didn't actually make use of any of it. And now, I mean, I don't have to explain, right? You're fully capable of seeing your issues when you're just watching this game. A lot of the issues come from just, I guess, even leadership. You should just tell them what to do, Because I feel like you know what to do, except that your teammates don't. So, by you not pinging them, it's kind of an issue. And I don't know if you do this on Challenger, but a lot of junglers in Challenger, especially in EUS and NA, they don't really ping much. Not sure why. So you should always just do that. And here, I mean, you could just be self-critical about your own mechanics when looking at this replay, right? Just look at your animation canceling, look at how you actually space your autos out, and how you move in skirmishes. Right? I mean, we can fast forward this again. At this point, what are you thinking with the Baron? I mean, do you get it? Holy fuck.
No, we fucking throw.
Yeah, no, okay, so, I mean, this is obvious stuff. There should be patience, and the reason why there should be patience is because they have to address this minion wave. If you just send somebody with a relatively good gap closer or movement speed, you can easily tap this wave and then reunite with your team mid. Because you know that because you're playing on the blue side, they don't have enough trajectory or champions to actually abuse you through the wall if they are to contest Dragon. What are they going to do? Sion fucking can't go through the wall. Xin Zhao is useless. Fizz is useless. If he goes in, he's gonna die. Sivir can't do jack shit. Nami has the only thing they have is Nami tidal wave. It's the only thing that can actually disrupt your blue side initiative onto the Dragon, Baron. So you actually have no incentive to rush the objective. You just need to play with your minion waves. Wait for one of these poor players to actually lose discipline. To actually, they're gonna end up trying to tap it, and then you just go in, right? You have the engage. You have retarded amounts of engage. There's absolutely no reason why you should just why you shouldn't just wait. And then just wait for them to entice them into you, because they can't get away from you guys. It's just not possible. If one of them gets caught, they're all gonna commit. and Diamond players especially, and even in low masters, they don't look at the map. So this is really good, including myself. I don't, most players they don't look at the map. So you can make these little plays. Do you have any questions or comments? Anything you want to add or anything I'm missing?
That was actually really useful.
Okay. As long as you're understanding it, because you're silent, so so I was as long as you're understanding it.
No, I didn't push to talk, but yeah, no, I get everything.
Yeah, and once again, it's building with pressure, right? They have right side initiative. If you take a fight in the jungle, you have fucking this ulti, right? You have Bard ultimate. You love close quarter fights. You want to fight in the jungle. You want to fight in close quarters where your team can actually make use of the terrain. Not to mention they don't even know how to play their Sion properly. Like I don't know why he's top lane and he's dying. So here this should just be a one fight. I mean we can just slow mo the fight here. Where's your support? Oh, he's dead. Jesus. Do you win this? I feel like you win this. No, you lose this.
Sure lose.
No, you lose this hard actually. Just kidding.
I decided to dive instead of peel.
They can't Baron though, can they? No, just Fizz.
No.
So this is not so bad. Holy shit, this is not so bad. You lose. I mean, you get Penta killed, right? Or whatever, right? You don't lose any objectives off of it aside from this one tower, which even you don't even lose the tower, so it's all good. And at this point, macro wise, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking like play around Baron at this point. That's why I just put it there.
I mean, you have a grace period where you know that Sion's teleport is down, so you can immediately walk with your. Well, first of all, God forbid these players actually have some kind of common sense and properly play the map out. Where Lissandra goes top lane, okay. You and your support walk into the enemy jungler while Kai'Sa shoves mid and obviously has some kind of she's like close to her support, so she's gonna get caught out. And then you just get wards here and here, and then you just wait for a pick. You can like pick on the left side jungle, knowing that Sion doesn't have teleport, right?
Yeah.
There's no reason why this should be happening. I think the reason he's bot lane is so he can tap the wave back, but then you can communicate to your team that if you just bum rush left side jungle and then wait for Sion to push in, you can get a pick, take Baron, and then Sion's forced to either take the tower or come to actually address you. And then worst case scenario, you can give up this tier 2 tower and it's irrelevant because you have Nashor. Right? So these are things that you can start thinking about when you're in the game, right? I'm giving you a generalization. Yeah. This is like a general idea of what you can do, you know? And at this point, like not Rift Herald. Why did I say that? Baron is the only contested objective, so the fights are really simple. The reason you win this is because you're blue side. It's the only reason you win this, and because you're blue side, you have 3 champions that just scale with the blue side terrain, and that's probably why you won the game. Just by making these like smaller errors. Like, do you see this shit?
Yeah.
Like that's all it takes.
I don't usually think about that shit like team comps and like blue and red side.
Well,
that's one thing.
The most important thing why I say blue and red side, why I'm actually talking about this is because one, you'd be playing in Master Challenger, and also in that ELO especially where like this is like a huge fight. You know, the Baron is one of the biggest objectives in the game, and then actually scaling with this like terrain here, like one champion that scales off this terrain and one champion that's really good on red side is MF, right? Because MF does this. Bard is also really good. Any champion that can just kind of abuse you, even Caitlyn, because Caitlyn's auto attacks go right through the wall and can hit champions. These champions, they can basically deny Baron by implementing they can basically just damage you the more you try to take Baron. So that's really good.
We can pause. I mean, we can stop at this one because you just
end the game. Yeah.
Go on Baron and
yeah. And at this point,
the other one might be better though. That's how you look.
Which one? Holy shit! My fucking
one I told you about.
My replay froze, dude. Okay, hold on. I'll take a look at it in a second. I'm just gonna close the replay because it froze. Yeah.
That's fine.
Hold up. Anyways, does that all make sense though?
Yeah, the early game Paladin was the big one.
Yeah.
Biggest one.
What's your? Ah, fuck. What is wrong with my computer? Okay. What's your main account?
Oh.
You just type it to me. Who the hell is this? Okay. Okay. Holy shit, dude. Challenger. Alright, we're which one? This one? Or any?
You're not screen sharing. It's the 6-8 one I lost.
Why am I not screen sharing? Did it just shut off?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I got it. Okay. The 6 in what? 6, 3, 14?
6 and 8.
6 and 8. Oh, there it is. Okay. Now, Graves is a champion, obviously really strong right now, but Graves is a champion that requires you to be more, I guess, like the word would be reactive towards the enemy's routes. And the reason for this is Graves is a champion that scales through just farming, right? Obviously, you have openings into the enemy, right? Because it's Taliyah, you know you have some openings onto the enemy. So you can make use of those. But it really does depend on what opening that Taliyah takes and what route you take to actually counter that. You know you can 1v1 her. So a match clear is something that you could be favored, you know? But I highly doubt that Taliyah is going to do that. One thing you can do is, obviously, junglers entertain which lanes they need to be ganking. You should also entertain which lanes the enemy will most likely be wanting ganking. And in this case, we can assume that, we can just look at our matchups, right? Taliyah knows that Silver Lulu, what is this matchup? I know that they push in early, right? I'm not sure who wins, though. I have no idea who wins, though. And then top lane, Quinn wins early, so you can assume that she's going to start bot side and then try to scale her top lane up because of Quinn's Ignite. So you can assume the bot lane start as well. But this is like, estimating where the enemy jungler is going to start and then kind of playing around that. So in this game, just tell me what you're thinking, because I want to get into your thought. Like, I want to understand your thought process, because this is not like
as far
some
as
random little game.
pathing every game.
Yeah, what is just tell me your pathing and explain to me your thought process.
I mean, basically, I see which lanes get prio, and then obviously in this matchup, Taliyah just gets shit on. So
she took your red buff.
I tried to pad the Cornleys to where I'll be in proximity to her, so we're on the same side of the map.
Yeah.
And then kind of meet her and then kill her if I get a chance.
She come late to lane. One thing you can do is you can go Raptors here and then go straight top. Alternatively, you can just go straight top and then look for a level to dive, or just fucking go kill her. Actually, you Chunka, this is huge. Yeah, that's fucking huge. And now what you do is he builds up slow push. You go take Raptors, you get a ward over here, and then you can dive her. And then alternatively, what ends up happening is, because if Taliyah obviously will get spotted while going towards her red buff, you then had initiative on Scuttle. You clear this jungle out, you recall, and then Taliyah, and then you can immediately run back to your Raptors and fight for it. Alternatively, you can just tell your mid laner to ward Raptors, because you know her next route, knowing that her left side jungle is taken, is going to be straight to your Raptors, right? So these are things you can start entertaining. While even at this minute, you can just literally think about that. This is fine. The ward here is necessary though. If you get a ward here, you can dive this. And the reason for this is because Taliyah shows, so it doesn't matter. But if she hadn't shown, then the ward would have been really good for you. Here, are you able to dive? Maybe not. I don't think you can dive.
Probably.
It would have to depend. There'd be a number of variables.
Depends on the wave, yeah.
Yeah.
You get creep blocked.
So this, you can easily contest her and kill her here. This is really good. This is really, really good. But here, just take her. Okay, you do. Good. So you're playing perfectly at this point. There's absolutely no mistakes from what I'm looking at. Do you get the ward here?
I wonder if I used it before.
You should just ward here. And the reason you want to ward here is first of all, you know that Taliyah's next is she's gonna go straight right side, right? You know you have a winning matchup in mid lane. Obviously you should be aware that Syndra will shove in LeBlanc early, but it's 4 minutes and 7 seconds. That's irrelevant at this point. LeBlanc should have the wave relatively even depending on how she's playing it. She could easily help you out if you just fuck this, and go straight mid or straight over here, right? You should also be aware that because you have an all-in lane in the bottom lane, whereas they have a poke, even if their bot lane decides to go and assist, Rakan can actually make a nice play. And this is basically just entertaining your champions versus their champions. Once again, vice versa, you can take this example and say you're playing in minute 1, right? So then if you're playing in minute 1 and say I was a Taliyah or something, then, if I was to play in Master Challenger in NA, and then I was a Taliyah, I would just do 1, 2, 3, 4, wait for my bot lane to build a slow push because I know my bot lane will build a slow push because this lane pushes into them, and I know Rakan doesn't actually have the wave clear to contest Lulu, and then simply dive bottom, go straight to your Raptors, recall, give up this left side, and then just play like, and then go straight to your Raptors and decide to try to see if you're there. This is something that high-level Talias might do. Obviously this one didn't, even though she is relatively high level, but these are things that you can start entertaining in your jungle route, Does that make sense? Like, just know what lanes are pushing and how lanes work.
Yeah.
So one thing you should do is, do you have like a, I mean, you just showed me your Smurf, but do you have another Smurf that you play lane on?
No, no.
Okay, go find a Smurf or use some random diamond account and just play like lane. Cause like you should be able to tell which lanes should be shoving. Like you should immediately be able.
I already know that without having to play lanes.
Okay, so as long as you know that, then everything is fine. But the problem with most jungle players is that they don't actually understand lane to a degree, so then they end up falling. This works out because you're stronger, right? I mean, this works out, which is good, but then what you could have done is you can immediately like check this, right? But you already know this is gone because you tab since you're CS, right? And in that case, the next her next spawn timers are on the left hand side. So at this point, Raptors is perfectly fine. But here you should just get a recall off. What's your gold? 600. Why don't you recall here and then get boots?
I think I was going for crab, I don't remember.
Right? Because imagine this. She's 0-2, right? Now, she doesn't choose to actually recall. Okay. Didn't she die? Wait a minute.
I think she did. I don't remember.
Okay, maybe I'm making a mistake. Hold on.
Yeah, she died.
Let me. Okay, so she died. This might be my mistake. Hold on. So you kill Syndra. She's in base and she's walking. Okay, you don't recall in this case, and this is obvious because Talia's back on the map and you want to be protecting your left side jungle because your world is going to spawn soon. So in this case, you don't have to recall, but you got to be careful. Because she's, she can look to kill you. This is fine though. This is fine. Alternatively, let's say for example that this fight in the bot lane a few minutes ago didn't actually happen, and then Talia didn't actually counter a gank. What you could have done is because you had the lead, and when you were on the left side jungle, you could have transitioned straight to the right, forced her out of these camps because you're stronger and you have better laners. And then what ends up happening is you know where she's going to be. You can then recall and then immediately go over here and then pressure her onto her left side jungle. Right? These are like jumps that you can make onto the enemy, knowing that they're weak. These are just things that you can start entertaining. If certain scenarios don't go down. Right? Like she should have won the counter gank, but it didn't end up working because of the champion difference. This is really good. So at this point, what are you thinking?
I'm just thinking that I should be invading her as much as possible.
I mean, you're absolutely shitting on her, dude. Who is this player? Is he just like some random?
Chad Jungle. Oh no, it's not.
Oh, it's not.
I think it's just a random.
Jesus, no wonder.
It's just a random.
Okay, because there's no way this could be like a. High level, like a high challenger or something. Because like, just the way she's moving in the jungle is really bad. Anyways, so I mean, I don't really have to go over much in this game, right? Like you're shitting on her. You should just be in her jungle. You should just live in her jungle onto the right hand side, because she can't make use of Quinn's power spikes because, well, Victor's too good of a player. He can basically avoid it, and you can just keep abusing her in his jungle. Because if she doesn't gank, then all your lanes win, right? Bot lane's questionable, right? And the reason I say that is because that comes back to me not understanding fully Sivir versus Ezreal scaling. I'm pretty sure Ezreal scales much better, but he's not as strong early. But if she doesn't gank, all your lanes win. So all you need to do in this game is just stay on top of the bitch and just make sure she doesn't do anything. You don't even need to make these ganks happen. Just keep waiting. Just wait for her in your jungle. In her jungle. There's nothing to coach here at this point. Everything here is like fine. There were a few minor errors, but overall, like this is really like standard at this point. You're really ahead. You have Rift Herald now. What are you thinking at this point? You want to get the lane swap soon, right?
Yeah.
Because they've already lane swapped. So, where do you think you could use the Rift Herald?
I feel like mid's always a priority now.
Mid is always mid is a priority in this case. Bot lane would have been a nice tower if it hadn't been taken, because then what would have ended up happening is they would have lane swapped first, giving your top basically that would have won you top lane sooner. But because bot lane lost, top lane ended up losing. But then you can basically now what's going to end up happening is because they've invested so much resources on and you see 3 of them on the map obviously, right? You can actually coordinate with LeBlanc and then just take Rift Herald and take mid immediately while pressure is being like over here, like on the sides. You know, they're not going to be contesting towards you, so you can just zone it down mid. Now, the reason I say you want to do this immediately is because let's say that they group. Now what's going to end up happening is the lanes are going to meet over here. And because the minions are going to meet relatively closer, your team now is forced to back up and basically address the waves, which basically puts you in a 4v5 situation. Or maybe even a 3v5, depending on how the enemy actually coordinates their waves to crash on both side lanes while simultaneously addressing to mid lane, right? But if you, for example, take mid tower out, then what ends up happening is then you can basically stall out and basically stop the bleeding that's already happening. You might be ahead, but your team isn't, right? So you need to basically use your lead and your understanding of the jungle because you have the Rift Herald already. You did this through superior movements on the map versus Taliyah. Use this to open up mid lane so that it can basically alleviate pressure off your own team. Does that like kind of make sense?
Yeah, it does.
You know, like what do you get for killing Taliyah here again? Absolutely nothing, right? Let's say Syndra doesn't show up. Let's say Sivir is still, or not Sivir, but Lulu was still not Lulu. Jesus, who the fuck was down here? Quinn? Yeah. Let's say Quinn and Syndra were jerking off back in their lanes, right? Even if you kill Taliyah, it doesn't do anything for them, because you're still down towers. You're still losing the game. So these are things that you can begin to entertain. What time is it? Jesus. Do you know? I have the fucking line open.
It's 8:40.
Okay. We can just keep this short. We can just do this till now, and then we can just continue it the next time we do our session.
That's fine.
Right?
That's fine.
But does this all make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So, like, do you have any questions, any concerns, anything that might not sound clear, or something that you think I should have gone over that I didn't already?
No, it all makes sense. It just takes me longer to process that in game.
Of course. I mean, it does for everybody, right? It's different when you're looking at the game versus when you're actually playing it. But the faster you start actually processing these things, the faster you're going to begin to, I guess, implement them, right? And one thing you can definitely do is, and I feel like you're already doing that by playing on your Smurf, right? So you can bring your Smurf up to like masters, like low masters, and then consciously think about these things, right? And then begin to isolate them because the win doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
Right.
Sure.
The win's not as important right now, but obviously you're maxing for challenger right now, so yeah, I guess you're more focused on winning than thinking, you know. So these are things you can just begin to entertain. Anyways, we're gonna cut the session here. So, you have a practice right now, don't you?
Yeah, in 20 minutes.
But yeah, we can do this some other time. We can continue like whatever game you want, and then maybe look at like more of the mid to late game, see what your rotations are. But that's about it, man.
Are you